Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're having a great time at the conference. I can see lots of you now in our virtual room, so welcome everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. The session's going to be for 30 minutes, and if you've got questions after, please head to the Talkwalker booth. It's in the Partner Expo area, and we've got lots of experts there. They're waiting to meet you, so just pop along and say hi right after the webinar. I'm Josie Jacob, Partner Manager for Talkwalker. I'm living and working in Luxembourg, Europe's smallest country. Here with me today is Jackie DeForge, Social Media and Community Manager for Rail Europe, and Jackie's based in New York. Say hello, Jackie.
Hi, everyone.
It's actually my first virtual conference, and I'm really happy to be sharing it with you. Connecting with customers, it's a bit, well, hit and miss. Could be easier, right? How can we measure a connection, and why do some connections last longer than others? With 3.5 billion people using the internet, it's where most of us are going to focus a lot of effort to engage. We know how many tweets we've posted, how many Facebook likes we've got, but how many likes make a lasting connection for your company? Can you benchmark social success against competitors? Do you know what post went viral or who retweeted what you said? And if you had this information, do you think you could use it to make better connections? Well, that's what the next 30 minutes are going to look like. The way Hootsuite, Talkwalker, Rail Europe and others are using a fresh approach to social to connect with customers. So here's the agenda. We're going to tell you more about Talkwalker, about social data intelligence, what it is, and how companies using it get a much better picture of who the customer really is. We'll spend time looking at the market and some of the aha moments that companies have when they can see what social data is telling them. By the end of the presentation, you'll know how to use social insights to make stronger, longer-lasting connections. How? Because you'll know exactly who's interested in your brand, what content to share, to connect with them, and improve things like engagement and customer loyalty. Sound good? Jackie from Rail Europe did it, and later she's going to tell you how she improved customer service and customer connections using this approach. So let's start with who we are. Talkwalker, helping you walk through the talk and sift through billions of posts shared on social networks every day. Why? Because when you know what people are saying and sharing about your company, you can understand them better and then connect with them better. Because you know how they're actually feeling rather than how you think they're feeling about your products and your brand. At any moment, Talkwalker's analysing 150 million websites, 850,000 news sites in 187 different languages, and that's 247 countries. That's across TV and radio too. We can tell you who's posting about you, what the sentiment is, and where the most engagement's coming from so you can make better decisions and justify spend. We're looking for patterns and trends too, so marketing and sales effort can be focused on the people, places, and themes relevant to what you're working on and give you the best connections. Look out for the Talkwalker Yeti too. He might pop up in the presentation to show you how to walk through mountains of social data. Okay, so that's all well and good, but why should you care? Why is social a conversation worth listening to? Well, for a start, they say this market's going to be worth nearly $3 billion by 2019, and that's a big increase from where it was a few years ago. The number of people using social media will keep on growing and become more and more important to marketeers, especially as technology in this area develops and reporting gets easier. North America is going to keep generating the most revenue from social analytics, followed by Europe, and Asia Pac is going to be the fastest growing region. Both Gartner and Forrester agree when it comes to making meaningful connections, marketeers still face significant challenges. But social media technology is here, and it's helping. Take a look at this extract from the Global Social Platform Report from Forrester last year. Marketeers and communication managers listed their top 3 social media challenges. measuring the performance of profiles, finding and creating content to publish, and deciding what content to publish. And guess what? All these problems can be fixed by analysis of your social data. It's just a shame I can't use it to fix other problems, like shampooing the dog and eating less sugar. So okay, you know who Talkwalker is by now. You haven't seen a Yeti, but you know more about the social data intelligence market, and it's growing fast. So I guess now you want to know, can it solve any challenges for me, right? Let's look at one, connecting with more people to increase sales. I was liking and retweeting posts from Airbnb way before I spent my first night in someone else's house. And I would have booked my first night a lot sooner if they'd have connected with me in some way, maybe with an early bird offer or an email, any kind of email, but they didn't. Airbnb didn't have a clue who I was, Josie, in Luxembourg. We don't have a target market there. And it's the same with pictures I'm posting. My first Starbucks red cup latte of the year. Me with my new iPhone 7. I'm showing love for my favourite brands, but I'm hidden to them because my picture posts don't have any writing. And I'm not the only one. 1.8 billion people are sharing images every day, and almost half of this user-generated content doesn't mention the brand in words. So if your social media is focused just on keywords, you're missing a lot of opportunities to connect and to retain these brand-loyal visual communicators. So what can you do? How can you get the full picture? Identifying and exposing this hidden market with technology was a challenge we solved at Talkwalker. Scanning and analysing thousands of images shared globally means building a fuller picture of your prospects, what language they speak, what country they're in, and what social networks they're using to interact with your brand. Not only that, monitoring visual communications means you can identify logo fraud, and if a picture of your product goes viral, you won't miss it, so you won't miss the chance to react to it. Let's look at an example of that from Coca-Cola. In the moment a goal was scored during a big match, thousands of people saw this image with the Coca-Cola logo really big in the background. It was shared extensively online and in the news, and the exposure was huge. Any communication managers reacting quickly to brand exposure like this can maximize it by joining in the conversation. Remember what Forrester said about the challenges marketeers have around social, creating content to publish, deciding what content to publish. Knowing what people are sharing is a new opportunity to create buzz. It's engaging content and it's being created for you. So the faster you react, the more it resonates and the more people you can reach to connect. Listen to what people are saying about your brand and use their words to create your content. Still not sure what to publish? When people talk about your brand, you'll see themes merging and decreasing, and you'll know what messages will work because you'll know how tastes are changing. While it took radio 38 years and the internet 7 years to reach an audience of 50 million, Facebook got there in just 3 years. The speed that social media took off was phenomenal, and it's created all these new ways to connect. Using technology to analyze social data tells you exactly who your customer is, not who you think they are. You'll know what they like, don't like. It's like a giant global feedback survey. And you can use the results to make meaningful connections and create something customers value because you'll know what they care about. And that's going to drive growth for your company and secure budgets for marketing when your campaigns are a huge success. Let me show you what I mean. I've got 4 examples to share, then I'll ask Jackie to tell you how Rail Europe did it. The first example is about using the dialogue your customers create on social media to connect with them. It's about exposing the public conversations people have when they mention your company. Find the best content and then join in with it. Often the best connections are made when it's your advocates doing the talking. In this example, from easy coffee recipes for busy mums, the post was seen by 457,000 people, and it was shared 27 times. Now that's a fantastic opportunity for McDonald's to create positive brand perception by connecting with Holly's mum and all of her followers. Imagine if McDonald's created buzz around the easy coffee recipes. Maybe they could publish them and get a busy mum's version of every McDonald's drink. By joining in with this conversation, McDonald's is connecting with potentially a new audience and associating their brand with, well, a wholesome, healthy advocate and making it seem like they've been approved by mums. That's a valuable connection. In example number 2, it's about using social selling to connect with customers. It's about companies looking for life events posted on social media, like buying a house or having a baby. So meaningful content related to the event, like home insurance or half-price nappies, can be pushed to the right place at the best moment to maximize sales. This example shows a Boolean operation being used to look for posts about people buying and selling houses. Not only can we identify and connect with John Magro, Keegan Tracy and Dr. Citron directly, we can see what devices everybody's using to post about buying houses, what social networks they shared the information on, and what the sentiment was when they posted it. Now with this information, we can all make better connections and connect with people we know are interested in the product. We know whether to spend money on ads suitable for iPads or mobile phones, and we know what social networks the ad should appear on to get the best results. That's going to make better connections and improve the overall performance of your campaign. Example number 3 is about using trending content created by customers to connect with them. It's about finding the most popular conversations about your industry and having an opinion on it or a perspective about it publicly to become an expert, or a company others look to for advice. By having opinions on trending topics, your connections are going to last longer because now the audience is going to anticipate your next perspective. In this example, we can see both Holly Atkinson and Starbucks exposing the famous coffee brand on Instagram. Holly's post connects with more than double the people that Starbucks reached, and Holly's post went viral. See that little icon box in the top right? Here's an opportunity for Starbucks to talk about the art history, perhaps, of their logo. Where does the mermaid come from? How did she evolve over time? And maybe ask Holly and her followers to come up with a 2016 version of the Starbucks logo. Now, and without mentioning coffee at all, Starbucks can connect with more people on that day than they would have reached by themselves. In my last example, connect with customers using VIP-generated content, is about knowing when a star or a famous person talks about your brand. Holly Atkinson exposed Starbucks to 36,000 followers, but when Justin Bieber tweets, 65 million people read it. Use a filter to find these valuable VIP posts from Twitter-verified accounts and engage or reuse the content to put your brand in front of a sea of potential new customers. You might even find a VIP brand champion. Look at this post from Twitter-verified Adriana De Mora. She's one of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She told 145,000 followers that she was loving the new Air France lounge in Paris and shared a picture of it. That's exposure that Air France could react to in real time. And if they'd have retweeted Adriana's post or given her free lounge access, they perhaps could have got some more endorsements. So now it's time to hear from our customer, Rail Europe. I'm delighted to welcome Jackie DeForge, Global Social Media and Community Manager. Jackie, can you tell me how you use social data intelligence to connect with customers and improve their customer service experience?
Hey, Josie. Thanks so much for having me here to share Rail Europe's experience with Talkwalker so far. A little bit about me quickly. As Josie mentioned, I do social media and community management for Rail Europe. and I've been with the company for about 5 years. And in that time, the company has recently gone through a few changes, and so I used to oversee social media and community management specifically for our North American market. But once those changes happened, I was suddenly in charge of overseeing it for all of our markets globally. So my job changed pretty quickly and pretty drastically, and so I suddenly needed a new way to have a better bird's eye view of what was going on across all of our markets and to become familiar with all of these markets, as familiar with them as I was with our North American market. And so a little bit about our company as well. We sell the famous Eurail passes and other train passes for travel throughout Europe. We also sell point-to-point tickets for all of the famous high-speed trains that you've heard of, TGV and Eurostar, along with the tickets for the national railways in most European countries. And we also sell things like sightseeing tours and activities so that people actually have something to do once they get off the train. And we sell both online and through GSAs, general sales agents, in some of our major markets. We sell to customers in their local languages and their local currency. And this kind of ties into what our social media aims to do and our community management as well. We try to be present in as many languages as possible and in as many markets as possible, so that customers always have a way of reaching us and being able to talk to someone actually in their own language when they need help. Okay, so as I mentioned, one of my primary challenges was how to manage customer service and e-reputation on a global level. There are so many conversations going on all the time, all over the world, different languages, and we just wanted to be able to have better insight into not only conversations that were happening about us and our brand, but conversations that were happening about travel in general, so that we could become part of these conversations if we weren't there already. So I wanted one program to help me do as much of this as possible in one place rather than having to go around manually and look in different social media accounts individually. I wanted insight into conversations specifically in places that we weren't looking too closely before. So that would be blogs, blog comments, forums, and some other online media. And then I also wanted to be able to identify not only new customers, as we've been talking about, of course that's very important, but also influencers and people who were already familiar with our brand and who are saying positive things, so that they can ideally become spokespeople for our brand. So here you'll see an example of what you see in a Twitter feed just when you're actually on the Twitter website and you're looking at your feed there. You know, you have obviously like the news feed. This I just searched for the hashtag #RailEurope, so very vague. And on the right, you can see this is when I hover over the person who's actually tweeting. So you get a little bit of info. You can see their bio. You can see, you know, where they work for, how many followers they have, things like that. But you don't really get a lot of information about why are they talking about this, what was the conversation that they're part of, where are they located, what is their influence, you know, other things like this. It's just kind of a basic view. So here we see, this is what I look at when I'm looking in my Talkwalker dashboard. So I approached Talkwalker and let them know what I wanted to do, what my goals were. And so now we're able to, we have a monthly cap for results that we can get in our Talkwalker dashboard based on certain keywords and KPIs that I set up. So I can go in there anytime I want and look at the results that are coming through. You can rearrange the dashboard so that you can figure out what is most important to you and what you want to look at. So here I also searched for the hashtag #RailEurope, just as I did on the Twitter website, and I filtered it so these are also tweets as well. So you can see you still get on the left-hand side the feed of tweets as you would on Twitter, but then on the right-hand side there's all of this other information as well. You can see where they're actually located. You can see more of their influence. You can see how many times, these tweets were shared and everything. And then above that on my dashboard, I can also see this. I can see sentiment of tweets, which is very important. You can even see how the sentiment has changed over time, not only what it is. And then you can see these other trending stories and conversations that were happening that these tweets are part of. And you can even, everything here is clickable, which is really cool. So like if I were to click on the hashtag Best Deal Day that you see there, you could see what other tweets were happening about Best Deal Day. You could see more of what that conversation actually is. I took this example from mid-July, so that's why people were talking about Best Deal Day. They are still not, I don't think. So the result was that I now do have a way to be able to gather all these conversations that are happening globally in one place. I have a better idea of who these people are who are talking about us, whether they're going to be new customers or whether they're already people who are kind of being spokespeople for our brand. The integration of the program was extremely easy to set up, and everyone was so helpful. I think I've emailed them a million questions throughout the process trying to get this set up and just trying to figure out this program that is so new to me. We've had it for just a couple months now, so it is still kind of new to me, and so our use of it will evolve over time for sure. As I mentioned, I now have a better idea of who is talking about us. Now I have an easier way to be able to reach out to them. And the reporting is also, this is one of the reasons I chose the program, because you can make customized reports within Talkwalker, meaning that I was able to upload my company's personalized reporting template, which for us is a PowerPoint. And so I can export the reports directly to that and then just hand them off to whoever needs the report right away, which kind of seems like a small thing, but when you're already doing a million things at one time, it's nice to just have this be a really easy process because sometimes reporting can be pretty tedious. And so we've set up reports, to look at the different keywords that we're monitoring. We've set up reports for competitor analysis because we also, in addition to inserting ourselves into these conversations and to interact with customers who are talking about us, we also want to see if our competitors are in these conversations, if they're talking to our customers. We just want a better idea of what's going on with them. So yeah, that is my experience with Talkwalker so far. We really love it. And I'm so glad that Josie invited me to chat with all of you today about it.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks a million for sharing your experience and for sharing your advice and your good ideas. It's really appreciated. Jackie, thinking back to the very beginning of the project, can you tell me why Rail Europe chose Talkwalker perhaps over other similar programs?
Sure. So as I mentioned, the reporting was really a draw for us. It's very straightforward and easy and makes my time management just a million times easier. And I also really liked the format of the Talkwalker dashboard. Just really made sense to me. Like some of the other programs, I guess, looked super scientific or something. I don't know how to describe it, but the Talkwalker dashboard is very customizable. The information is shown in these different graphs or tables, but if you don't like the way it's displayed, you can actually change it. So you can change it from a pie chart or a bar graph or, change it to something that makes more sense to you, which is great. And then I also just received a lot of help from the Talkwalker staff when I was researching these projects and asking a million questions. The Talkwalker people really stood out to me as just being very helpful, and I knew that as I was going through this kind of complicated program and project, I felt like I would always be able to get a ton of help from them, which is very important.
Thanks. Now, I don't think we covered it in the presentation, so can you tell me what specific KPIs you monitor?
I don't want to say too much. Just, I don't know if any of our competitors are watching this. If you are, hello. So I think I'm going to keep that on the down low if that's okay for you. But I mean, we are just trying to, as I mentioned, obviously see what people are saying about our brand, but also go wider than that and try to figure out what's happening in the greater realm of people talking about travel and Europe and trains and things like that.
Sure. Thanks. And picking up on something you said about how it's going to evolve over time, can you tell me a bit more about how you think Rail Europe's use of Talkwalker might evolve over time?
Sure. So right now, we are super focused on customer service and on e-reputation management. So like that sentiment chart that I showed you before, we kind of want to make sure that's all in the green all the time, ideally. And as we go on, I'm going to start to integrate more of our team members. This is especially where Talkwalker's integration with Hootsuite will really come into effect, because with that integration, we can actually respond to people right within the program. We're going to use it. I'm kind of interested in the image recognition portion that you were talking about earlier, so I'd like to possibly get more involved with that. But we're going to try to move on only to not only customer service management, but also general marketing as we go on.
Sure. Thanks very much. That's good.
So then I have a question for you. So I mentioned that I'm interested in the image recognition capabilities that you were talking about, and it looks really cool. So can you tell me a little more about that?
Yeah, I can. Actually, one thing I didn't mention about image recognition is that we're noticing a brand new category of users emerging. They're called visual influencers. So now you can see what they're posting about your brand with our image recognition technology. Marketeers and social managers are focusing on how to get them to play an active role in their visual storytelling for their brand. And what they're actually doing is building visual influencer programs to make that happen. So if you're on the Talkwalker booth, have a chat to our marketing team about it. Ask them to give you some more information. They're in the Partner Expo area.
Cool. And then I just have one last question for you. In your opinion, what do you think the next big social trend will be in terms of marketing or customer service or just anything that we've talked about?
Great question. New technologies being launched or taking off suddenly all the time. Yeah, we've got to move really fast as marketeers to maximize the exposure for brands. Look at Pokemon Go. So companies were getting involved with that trend, referring to it in fun ways, whether they liked it or not. And in their content, they were having opinions about Pokemon Go. They were engaging with thousands of people who were loving Pokemon too. And that meant hundreds of new connections. So now as the hype starts to fade, those companies who made good connections have got new people to talk to, and some of them got lasting insights, even product development ideas from the discussions that they started online with Pokemon fans when the game happened. So I think we've got to be ready for virtual reality. Virtual reality is going to explode, and we've got to get ready for it because it's going to be here sooner than we think. Can you imagine making live new connections inside a virtual reality experience? Wouldn't that be great? So thanks everyone for listening. We're at the end of our presentation. Our experts are waiting on the Talkwalker booth to answer any questions that you've got. Our booth's in the Partner Expo area. Thanks for listening. Have a great day and good luck making all of your new connections.